Hey guys, this is my first video ever of Table Rock State Park in South Carolina. I was going to run through on the campsites. These sites are actually 1 through 8. I'm not going to be very detailed on those. They're more so for a smaller travel camper or tent. And 6, 7, and 8 look like you would have very little shade. But I'm making this video because there's not a real good video about the sites. We had trouble picking our site because of that. This is site 8. And you can fit probably a little teardrop in there or a tent. There are some bigger travel trailers down that way. And I'm just going to walk around the campground. I think they call this the upper campground. Not too sure on that. But once you get past 1 through 8, you start getting into a little bit bigger site. Like here we have 72. I'll try to go in all the sites that are available. It's a pretty big site, and it sits beside the creek. So if you've got kids, this would be a good site. They can get down in there and play in the little bit of water that's there. But this is a good back end site. And it looks like 71's beside them. It's a tight squeeze, but they got it in there. It looks like a 24 foot. And their picnic area is paved. And across the road we've got site number 9. And I'm not sure which ones are tent only or camper accessible. But this one is a good tent site. All of these down through here be good tent sites on the creek side. While I'm here, this is site 69. It's up a hill a good bit. Shouldn't be too hard to back into. It might be hard to level out. This is site 10. It looks like a pull-through site. I don't know if they designate it for tent only or camper. You could easily fit a good-sized camper in there. There's site 11. It looks like more of a tent site. And site 12 looks like it's also a pull-through, a small pull-through. Site 13's got a pretty big camper in it, 26 foot. And they've got a good little yard. Nice area to hang out with kids. It actually looks like a nice site. That is site 14. It looks like a tent site. And 15, you could definitely back in probably about a 24 foot, maybe. A 24 would be pretty tight. But I'd say at least 20 foot, a pop-up size or anything like that. And then across the way, I forgot to look at the number, but this is a big site. This is 16. It's a back end site, but you got a pretty good size area to hang out. And site 18 is kind of unique. It's a little different. I don't know if they consider this a tent site, but you could probably get like I said, another 20-foot camper in there, and then your seating area would be down there. A big area to hang out. Across from them, 17. It's a nice back end site. And then 19, somebody's in that one. It's definitely more of a tent or a teardrop site. The road through here is a little tight. This is site 20. You're going to be downhill on it, so you'll have to do a little bit of leveling on that one. And then 21 is a good bit smaller. Still enough room for a smaller camper. Site 22. You could probably get about a 24 foot in there. They don't recommend this loop for large trailers or campers, but my in-laws are camping with us, and they have a 24 foot fifth wheel, and they came down here. No problem. This is site 23. It's a good site. It's in the shade for a little part of the day. Pretty level. And this is 24. I'd say it's more like a tent site. It's kind of small. .25 is a pull through, I think. It does look like it's close to the road, the main road. I would say that you can probably get a 25 foot, 26 foot in there. It'd be tight, but it is a pull through. And that's a trail to the bathroom. This is site 27. It looks like a decent size. Pretty wide open area. I think I missed one. 26. It's another fairly decent size back in. Probably more so like a pop-up size. And then 28 is another pull through. The ride in is okay. The ride out is a little bit tighter. But you could probably just back it out and come in the way that you went in. Go out the way you went in. This is 31. It's another good size back in site. And 30, pull in site. That's about a 16 foot camper, maybe 18. This is 33. Let's say you can get a 16 or 18 foot in there. If they allow it, it might be a tent only. And then 32, they're putting a teardrop in there. 35 is beside us. We're in the pop-up. That's a strange creature right there. But you've got a decent amount of backup area. You do kind of share it with 36. 36 is a pull-through. A lot of these sites are smaller. There are some big sites. This is 34. It's more of a, looks like a tent area. This is our site, 36. With the pop-up, when it's open, is 24 feet long. I don't think you'd have any trouble backing in a camper that was 24 feet long. Because it is a pull-through. And then there's 37. You could definitely put a camper in there. They've got 3 tents. This is 39. It's another pull-through site. A small pull-through. I wouldn't say anything over about 16 feet. You'd be comfortable. And then 38 is our in-laws. This is the fifth wheel, 24-foot fifth wheel. They folded right in here and backed it up. No problem whatsoever. This is site 40. It's a pull-through. You've got a good bit of real estate here. It does back up to a bit of a steep hill, but you do have the pretty scenery if you're into that kind of thing. And there's also a trail, a steep trail that leads down to the creek. Or a good old-fashioned swimming hole. It's probably not very big, but this is the site. This site connects to another pull-through. So you sort of share driveways here. This is 43. It's a good. Sorry about the interruption. This is site 43. It does connect back to, I believe that's 41 or 40. I'm not completely sure now. This site, we've got a couple sites across the road. That was 42. I'll backtrack a little bit. Okay, so 41 is right here. This is a very small back end site, probably a tent site. And then that would have been 40. The big pull through. It's a very nice site. A little steep. Probably not recommended for small kids. And then 42 is this site. And it's another small back end. It does have a good bit of area, but there's a lot of trees in the way. You could probably squeeze in a 20-foot camper in there. You would also be right beside the bathhouse. Now, back to 43. This is another pull-through site. It is smaller than 40. And it does have the same drop-off. It's a little bit better, but it still has that same drop-off with another trail to the creek. This is site 44. Going downhill now. That's a good sized backhand site. Actually looks really nice. Also got kind of a drop off, but not as bad as the other two. Little play area here. This is a pretty big site for a family. And I would say you can definitely get at least a 20 foot in there. That tree might be in the way. It does lean over the side a little bit. You can probably get a 24 foot in there. And 46 is across the road. Looks like it might have been a pull through at one time, but they have put the post there for your trash, blocking it off. This site does not have a number, the best that I can tell, but it is another pull through site. Looks like a lot of these are pull-throughs. And then 47 is beside it. 47 is a pretty good sized pull-through. Not a whole lot of yard, but a good long road. And this is across the street. Number 46. You could easily get a 24 foot or better in here if you move the picnic table somewhere. Looks like you'd have a fair amount of shade. It is kind of open, but the site is very big. It is kind of also cornered to the road. And 49 is the campground host. This is 47. It did look like a good size pull through, but once you get to the side, it's actually kind of small, with a steep drop off running down to the creek. But if you are camping with family, you can definitely get, looks like these 3 sites, they connect together pretty good. 4 sites, sorry. And that site is a small camper or maybe even a tent site. That's site 50. 51 is across the way. I believe it's a tent site. Not a very good driveway. The 50 is gravelled very nicely. It looks pretty good. 52 would be a very tight camper site. I'm going to guess that it's a tent site. But there is lots of yard out there to hang out. Not sure I'd put a camper in there. We're coming up on site 53. It's a bit of an incline to get up to the site. You can probably get about a 20 foot in there, maybe 16 to 20. And the bathhouse is right behind you. It'd be tight, but you could probably get a 20 in here. And park right here. They do not allow parking on the road. Now we're moving on down to site 55. It looks very nice. They might designate this as a handicap. Everything's pretty level. And you are definitely in the corner, in the turn of the road. I'm not sure how busy it's going to get here, but this is the back of the site. And then your picnic area and fire ring. Pretty level site. You will have to back in from downhill. And 56 is across the way. It's probably a tent site. You could put a teardrop there or pop up. And 57 is a pull-through. You can see we've got a pretty good sized motor home there. He's probably 26, 25 feet. Not a whole lot of living space when you're in there. And then 58 it looks like another tent site. We've got 61 over here. It's a tight pull through. 60 is a good level area for a tent. It'd be pretty tight with a camper, but you know, teardrop or pop-up would fit. And now 62 has a pretty steep incline up to the site. But once you're up there, it would definitely hold a 25 foot, 26. It'd be a chore getting it backed up the hill, but it's not terrible. It is pretty wide open. The trees look like they're out of the way. And there's 63, another back end site, a small back end site. And 64, that there looks like a 24 foot, 22 to 24. And you can see he is close to the road but not in it. And not a lot of living space once you're in there. This is 65. It's a handicap space. It is pretty level and everything's graveled and looks very nice. A motorhome would definitely fit in here. I'd say the site total length is probably 35, 40 feet. With a pretty good sized living area. And the bathroom right across the street. And 66, another small back end site. Might be designated as a tent site. But it's a pretty nice site. Looks like you'd be in the sun most of the time. That looks like it's a 24 foot coming in. This is site 68. The pad has some pretty big rocks, so it'll probably feel pretty bumpy backing it in. And they've had a lot of rain here. Everything's kind of washed out. But a good long site. There's a little paved area at the back, maybe for a picnic area, patio type thing. And now we're back at the beginning of the loop. This is site 69 that I think I've already gone over. And this is a very steep back end. I would say you can probably only fit about a 16 foot up here. Nice living area though. Thanks for watching, guys. I don't think I'm going to do the other campground loop. This is the upper loop. From what I hear, the other campground is a good bit tighter There's just not a whole lot of videos out there about Table Rock State Park in South Carolina. That's it. Thanks for watching.